Well, hey, good afternoon to you. It's kind of the middle of the day. It's pretty hot. And I was wanting to get a hunt in this evening, but it is supposed to start thundering. They say in about an hour. It sure doesn't look like it. It looks like beautiful skies, but that's what the weather prognosticator said. So I'm going to try to get a hunt in now. I'm going to go pretty close to where I'm standing. That's why I'm just going to kind of share what's going on right here, and then we'll get in and do a little squirrel hunting. Now, we're squirrel hunting for a couple reasons. Number one, we're going through the book of Matthew verse by verse, and for whatever reason, God said to hunt and fish through it. I believe a lot of that has to do with the blood. I believe a lot of it has to do with just being in His creation. While you're going through His salvation, it's really been a beautiful ride. But I'm also squirrel hunting because it's summer and there's not a lot you can hunt in Missouri in the summer. Squirrel's about it. Bullfrog and a few other things, but squirrel hunting it is. I also, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not a real good hunter. I'm doing my best. This is really the first time I've actively tried to squirrel hunt, on a regular basis. And I'm getting better at it. And I believe a lot of the reasons there is a lot of you are sharing with me kind of because most of these hunts I don't succeed, but we're out there anyway, and it's real. I could just film the times that I'm successful, and that is what it is, but it's not what we're doing. We're getting out in His creation, as I learned a few episodes ago. That I believe His word calls out creation. Like I think His creation and nature comes to His word. Like I was literally squirrel hunting for about an hour and didn't see anything. And I literally read one sentence out of the word of God and all these squirrels start coming out. And then I read more sentences and all of a sudden turkeys started coming out. And I got it all on film. It's a few episodes ago, but that's what I believe. So a lot of times I'll be I'll kind of go hunting and don't get anything, and then I'm preaching the word, and here it comes, like one of the best nature calls out there. But I have a rule that if anything I'm hunting comes out while I'm reading the word of God, I don't shoot it, just because it seems wrong for nature to come out to the word of God and get blown away. So, and where we are in the book of Matthew is we're in the beginning of the genealogy. It's incredibly fascinating to see how God has orchestrated the history of mankind to ultimately lead to Jesus Christ. It really, I've said this many times in other videos that the whole Bible is about one thing. It's about the advancement of the kingdom of heaven on earth as it is in heaven. And when you study out the genealogy, every single person on that line and what they went through, you see that He is advancing His kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven. And where we are in the genealogy is we're right at the release from Babylon, from captivity and that lineage and rebuilding of the wall and the temple, that group. So that's where we're going to pick up, but I'm going to go ahead and head on in there, and I'm going to just stand there like a tree, be totally still, and see what I see. I did get some glasses that have a camera on it, so you can see what I see as well. I'm going to be using a Typhoon 12 gauge shotgun. It's got a 2-round magazine. I do have a red dot on it, but the lens came out of it, and on this hunting trip, I still don't have the tools to change it out. I probably should have last time I was home, but anyhow, I have a red dot on it, but it doesn't work. So I'll be using iron sights, and I'm using Winchester 6-shot. Had a lot of luck with that last time, even at long distances, getting squirrels. So it's a great round, but I'm going to go ahead and be quiet now and head on in there, and we'll see what we can find. See you on the other side of the hunt. I'm not sure what I hear, but something's like breaking branches over there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I could see some clouds kind of coming in the distance, and it's been a little over an hour. I haven't heard a single thing other than I heard something, but there's like the walnuts are falling right now, so that's I kind of sit here and just hear this crash of something, and then you turn and look, and there's just walnuts falling. Squirrels around here are super elusive. I know it's summer, but man, at my house, they just come right up to my deck and hang out. Like here, they're very elusive. Most squirrels that I see, by the time I get a gun pointed at them, they're gone. But I found really the best time is right before the evening and 40 minutes after sunrise. And again, it's probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon right now. So my guess is they're probably bedded down. But anyhow, we're going to go ahead and go through the book of Matthew, verse by verse. And where we are is, again, we're in that genealogy of Jesus Christ after the release of captivity. And Matthew breaks down the genealogy in 3 sections, 14 generations between Abraham and David, 14 generations between David and captivity, and then 14 generations from captivity to Jesus, and that's where we're at now. And today I think is really fascinating, the guy we're going to talk about today, who is only mentioned here, but oh man, you learn so much of just what the world was like during his day. So we're just going to pick it up in Matthew 1, starting verse 12. And after they were brought to Babylon, Jeconiah begot Shealtiel, and Shealtiel begot Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel begot Abiud. Now, we're going to stop there because we're going to talk about Abiud. Because Zerubbabel is all through the book of Ezra, as well as the book of Nehemiah, as being a significant person. Ezra refers to him as Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel. So Abiud, his dad, Zerubbabel, was part of that group that came from Babylon and rebuilt the temple, rebuilt the wall. And all we really know about Abiud as a man is that he's the son of Zerubbabel and the father of Eliakim, where it goes on to say Abiud begot Eliakim. And that's really all we know about him. But if you look at really what was happening at the time, you can it's incredibly fascinating, because the reality is, you had, if you look at his ancestors, Abiud is the very first person born in Jerusalem that is governed by the law. Everything has been lawless up until this point. Everything. Because if you look at his father, Zerubbabel, built the temple, and we're going to see here in a second, him and Ezra and Nehemiah helped establish the law of Moses back into Jerusalem. But before him, so here you got Abiud's dad doing this. But his dad's father, so his grandfather, and then his great-grandfather, and then his great-great-grandfather led them into captivity. But it was his great-great-great-grandfather, Josiah, who was the first king of Judah to find the book of the law in generations, so maybe a century up until that point. Josiah was the first to kind of look at the book of the law and go, oh, wait, there's things we should be doing and should not be doing. And since him, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generations of people until you finally get of lawlessness. And you finally get to this point where the law is being established again. You know, if we go to Nehemiah 4:17, those who built on the wall and those who carried burdens loaded themselves so that with one hand they worked at construction and with the other held a weapon. So Zerubbabel would have been part of this. His father would have been part of this moment in time where they're rebuilding the temple and rebuilding the wall. And Abiud was probably not born at this point. I only say that because if we then go to 7, starting verse 4, now the city was large and spacious, but the people in it were few, and the houses were not rebuilt. Then my God put it into my heart to gather the nobles, the rulers, and the people, that they might be registered by genealogy. And I found a register of the genealogy of those who had come up in the first return, and found written in it, these are the people of the province who came back from captivity, of those who had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away captive, and who returned to Jerusalem and Judah, everyone to his own city. Those who came with Zerubbabel were Jeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Ramiah, Naamani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispereth, Bigvai, Nehem, and Bana. And then it goes into the number of other children and different groups, but it doesn't have any mention of his family or Abiud or anything like that. So I'm making some assumptions here, but I think they're fairly safe to make. And then by the time we get to Nehemiah 8, he's reading the law of Moses and establishing these laws. And Abiud is the first, really, in a long time in the lineage of Jesus Christ who are being obedient to the law. And that's what's so significant about Abiud, is it's not just he's just some guy. He's the son of Zerubbabel and the father of Eliakim. He's a man who for centuries is in a lawless land, and he's there born into law-abiding nation of Judah and Israel. Like, it's kind of a fascinating moment in time, because it's been lawless up until this point for a long time. His great grandfather's time, it's just been lawless since then. And finally, his father Zerubbabel set up temple worship, set up that first sacrificial altar. It was his father that did that. And then they built the temple and the wall, and they fought people while they did it. And they established the law of Moses after the temple is built. And then here comes Abiud. It's really kind of a beautiful moment in time in the history of Israel and in the lineage of Jesus Christ. And it's definitely one that you can't just skate over as, well, all we know about him is who his father and his son were. No, we know a lot about what life was like when he was born and throughout his entire life, what it was like in Jerusalem. Temple worship established for the first time in a long time. Law of Moses being played out for the first time in a long time. And all this is because we're getting closer to our Christ. Getting closer. So there you go. Thanks for joining us. Again, I sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. But this is one of those times I'm not gonna. But I'm gonna head on back in, and we'll just continue to do some hunts. If the rain lets up at all, we'll get another one in. But if not, this will be the end of it for a bit.